to have virtual meetings. So just be a little patient. We'll try and make sure that we get as much information as we can. We want you to understand that even though this is being live streamed, this is the very first time as a municipality that we have been able to have a meeting without everyone in the room. And by everyone, I mean the council members. So they are all sitting at home. I'm sitting at town hall, but this is not something that has been allowed for us until the legislation was passed last Thursday. So live stream, yes, I'm sure that's been done by lots of municipalities, but please don't confuse that with what virtual is. When we get through the first agenda, we will have to have a break. There are a few housekeeping items that we need to do. So we will then have a bit of a break while our clerk does up the minutes of this meeting so that they can be passed. And then we will get into the meat of what I'm sure everybody's watching for. I would like to welcome you. This is a whole new experience for it. We hope that we'll get some feedback as to how it went and how many people were attending. And we're going to do the very best through these tough times to get us up and going. So I appreciate your attendance. So as I said, welcome to the meeting of March 27th at 3 o'clock, which is being held electronically and available on the town's Greater Napanee YouTube channel. First, I will call the meeting to order. I need a motion, and will have to be a recorded vote for the adoption of the agenda, please. Motion by Deputy Mayor Kaiser, seconded by Councillor McCormack. And for each and every resolution, I need to do a recorded vote. So I will start with Ward 1. Yes, will you accept it? Ward 1?
Yes. Yay.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Ward 5?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Isbester. Sorry, we have to do this because people can't see us voting. We'll soon get past this and find some other way to do it. All in favor of the motion? Yes, I already did that. Okay, thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? There have to be hands raised. And Mr. Richardson, Councilor Richardson, I haven't got you on my screen. You have nothing to declare as well?
No.
So seeing none, I will go on to the items for discussion. We have bylaw 2020-0020 to amend bylaw number 2008-58 to permit electronic meetings. We can discuss it, or we can just pass the bylaw as needed, please. Need someone to make someone to.
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion to permit electronic meetings to be used. And I'd like to add, though, that this will not become normal, but only in cases where we have to have virtual meetings because of public safety, etc.
Well, I'm going to have to defer to the clerk because we would have to change the bylaw. We can.
Okay. I'll make the motion, but I'll just add the comment that we're doing this with the idea that this is for COVID separation and all the rest of it, that this is not to be intended to be our normal going forward, that this face-to-face meetings would be preferred except in this case. And so with that in mind, I make the motion to amend the bylaw to permit, I can't read the words.
Electronic meetings.
Electronic meetings, thank you. My camera views are over top of the wording on the screen.
Okay.
I make the motion.
Make the motion. So moved by Deputy Mayor Kaiser, seconded by
I'll second.
Councillor Pennell. Sorry, he beat you to it. And so a recorded vote again. Well, you know what your words are, so just individually. Ward 1, yes. Yes. Or no?
Yes.
Councillor Richardson.
Yes.
Councillor Pennell.
Yes.
Councillor Norrie.
Yes.
Councillor Johnson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
Yes.
Mayor Isbester, yes. Carried unanimously, and that is on, sorry, it's on 4.1. I need a motion to confirm the proceedings of confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Greater Napanee special session held March 21st, 2020. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kaiser, seconded by Councillor Pennell. All in favor of that motion, and we've got to go through the same thing again, guys, so let's start over again.
Yes.
Yeah. okay.
Yes.
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 Okay, good, we've got that. I need a motion to adjourn, please.
McCormack.
Okay, so Councillor McCormack and seconded by
Kaiser.
Now. Okay. Again, let's go through the routine for the recorded vote, please.
Yes.
Yes. Ward 2.
Yes.
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 And yes.
All in favor? Yes, we're got good. Meeting adjourned. You give us, for the public, we will probably be back to you within probably no longer than 10 minutes. Thanks very much, council. I think that was a good start. We'll try to keep on track.
We should be able to have more people than 6 on this.
Mark, your mic is off.
Hey,
Dave, you're off too.
Everybody's off.
Oh,
Hey, Dave? Is Dave there?
Yep, I'm here now.
If I leave this meeting and try and get back in, do you think I'll be able to get everybody's picture on this thing or no?
It's something like what Bob had to go through. Bob, how many people are you?
Can I just add something?
Yeah.
In the bottom corners of your screen, there's an arrow that you can pull open your screen. And the more you pull it open, the more people show up.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything. All I got in the bottom right-hand corner is a little picture of the agenda.
Right now, I've got Ellen Johnson, myself, Terry Richardson, Max Kaiser, Dave Pennell, the mayor, Bob Norrie, Susan Beckel, Rob Surson, Zatterberg, Clement, and Hammond.
Oh.
So
Terry, are you on an iPad?
Yeah, I'm on the one that the town gave us, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the desktop. So it's
So,
always a little different.
on my iPad, I have the agenda as the main screen and my picture in the bottom corner. And if I hit the plus sign, it expands and I have 4 tiles across the bottom, but I can slide them sideways and see everybody's connected.
Okay.
That's exactly what I have.
Okay, I just
But-
did that.
But
Thanks,
only
Matt.
at a time. I'd like to ask a friendly request that if you're not speaking, and this is just a request on my part, I'm not telling anybody what to do, but please turn your mic off. I find it very disturbing and disconcerting.
No, good point.
Okay, I got, when I hit that plus thing, I can scroll through and see everybody, so.
Also, one other little operational thing. If you don't have all your buttons live on the screen at all times, if you go to more, you can actually hit meeting settings, and then you can always show meeting controls. And that way you keep your mic and your video buttons live and on the screen at all times.
Council, just be aware that we are still live.
Yep.
I've been good with
Okay.
my language, haven't I? How long until we go?
just a couple more minutes.
Okay, just a comment. I like to have my agenda moving, so I'm using my phone to scroll through the agenda as we go, just in case you see me fiddling in the front. I've got my phone on to the agenda.
We got a couple minutes, do we, Susan?
Yes, you do.
Okay, give me a couple. I'll let you know when I'm back. Okay.
Council, I've just sent you the minutes from the previous meeting,
All right.
so we can proceed with the next council meeting.
We got Dave back, or sorry, we got Terry back yet?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I had my microphone off.
That's okay. No, just didn't want to start without you, Councillor Richardson, that's all. Okay,
Terry, can you turn your video on?
I didn't know I didn't have it off, but I thought it was on, I guess, but
No, you're a black square.
okay. Hold on here. Let me see what we can find.
Should be next to the microphone button at the top of the screen, Terry. Should say start video, stop video.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, we're cooking with fire now.
okay, so I've now lost Councillor Pennell, but I'll just have to get along with that, no matter how I can just get 6 up on mine. Who am I got? We're going to proceed here. We're going to make this. Just you may have to call my attention if I'm trying to watch 2 screens and an agenda at the same time. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon's March 27th, 2020 meeting at 3:10. The meeting is electronically and will be available on the Town of Greater Napanee YouTube channel. caution that we are trying this, of course, for the very first time. And council, if you would try not to speak over each other, only because there is up to a 30-second delay for the live feed, and that then will not confuse the public or us. I will try to watch for it. If I can't get your attention, because I only have 6 on my screen, please let me know. So I call a meeting to order, and I need a motion for the adoption of the agenda, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kaiser and seconded by Councillor Johnson. Again, we've got to go through the recorded vote, so you know the routine by now. So if you start rhyming off, please. Councillor McCormack, he must be muted. Did we-
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ward 2, yes.
Thank you.
Ward 3, yes.
Thank you.
Ward 4, yes.
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 DM, yes.
Mayor Spencer, yes, carried unanimously. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. The only one I don't have on my screen is, oh, I guess I've got you all now. Seeing none, I need a motion for the adoption of the minutes. These will be individuals. 4.1 for the regular session of council, March the 10th, 2020. Moved by Councillor Pennell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kaiser. Let's go through it, guys.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Ward 3, yes.
Ward 4, yes.
Ward 5, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes, carried unanimously. Motion for the special session of council, March the 19th. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kaiser, Councillor Pennell. Same thing. Councillor McCormack,
Yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Ward 3, yes.
Ward 4, yes.
Ward 5, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
yes, okay, carried unanimously. 4.3, the special session of council, March 27th, 2020. Moved by
McCormack,
seconded by Councillor Richardson. Okay, again, one off, please.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Ward 3, yes.
Ward 4, yes.
Ward 5, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes, carried unanimously. Items for discussion, emergency services. What is the benefit of the town of Greater Napanee declaring an emergency service? Is there a staff member speaking to this for us? Well, you have a recommendation, and it is within the agenda for those that are reading online, that we received for information the document, what is the benefit of the town of Greater Napanee declaring an emergency, and further that council direct the document to be posted on the town's website and social media sites. Moved by Councillor Pennell, seconded by Councillor Norrie. Again, I need you to go through the sequence, please.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Pennell, yes.
Ward 4, yes.
Ward 5, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes, carried unanimously. 5.2, emergency services, CEMC appointment. We have a recommendation that council receive for information the emergency services CEMC, and alternate the CEMC, which stands for Community Emergency Management Coordinator. And further, the council authorize a bylaw to be brought forward to amend Emergency Management Program and Response Plan bylaw number 2018-0061 to appoint Curtis Markland as the town's Community Emergency Management Coordinator, CEMC, and to appoint General Manager, Emergency Services, Fire Chief Rob Serson, Deputy Chief Bill Hammond, and Deputy Chief John Koenig as the alternate CEMCs. Moved by, I'm missing somebody on the screen still. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kaiser, seconded by,
McCormack.
okay, that's who I'm missing. Okay, Councillor McCormack. All in favor of that motion? Oh, sorry, we got to go through it again. It'll take a while.
McCormack, yes.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, Ward 2, yes.
Pennell, yes.
Nori, yes.
Ward 5, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes. Carried unanimously. Financial relief, sorry, 5.3, financial relief for the community. We have a recommendation that set out several recommendations. Does council wish to speak to any of these before we, or if we decide to pass? Council?
Is anyone going through this or are we just talking about the document? Pardon me for not raising my hand.
No, that's okay. That's all right. Mr. Dauber, are you on the line to answer any questions that the council may have? Can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, I am, and I can.
Okay. So Mr. Dauber is on the line if anyone wishes to ask any questions. And I'm not picking up Councilor McCormack's tile in my area. So Councilor McCormack, if you wish to ask a question, you're going to have to catch my attention by voice, please.
Right.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions of our financial GM? Councilor Pennell?
Thank you, Worship. It's probably more of just a statement. If we're gonna go through with free garbage bag tags, I would just like to make sure that we portray that this is just for the short interim, that this is gonna happen, and maybe set at a 2-bag limit. You know, most people are good with only doing 1 bag at a time per week, but with being home the extra hours, 2 bags. And but I think it's very important that we portray that this is just during the emergency.
May I speak to that?
Yes, certainly can.
So I'm just sitting here thinking that out our way, there's a number of small side roads, and the garbage is done at the end of the road where they have a community box that represents everyone on that side road. I'm thinking Hickory Lane, Watercombe, Hollands Lane. And so those boxes might serve 2, 3, 8 different households. And there's no possible way for the garbage truck driver to recognize how many households are represented by the box that they do pick up from. So in the past, they've handled every single bag and seen the tag. But I think in this case, we either consider no limit, and I'm going to come back to that in a second, or we say, if we're going to say a 2 bag per household limit, then we have to excuse the boxes where there's a laneway that's being serviced by that box. As far as the household limit, if you have brought family home because, and I know there's some cases in the community where people have brought family home so that they're minimizing the impacts financially on the individual households. For example, you know, kids are living with parents that they don't normally live with because they want to save on hydro. They're out of work, they're laid off, whatever. That 2 bags suddenly becomes a different thing because the other dwelling unit isn't putting out anything. I'm going to suggest, I totally agree, this is absolutely only for the period of time that the Ministry of Health, the province, whoever is mandating the isolation, but that we not impose any limits on it at all, within reason. If the garbage truck gets to your house and sees 20 bags, they might choose not to pick them up, but no limits, but be reasonable. I don't know how to word that properly, really effectively, but I don't want to put a 1 bag or 2 bag per household limit on it, especially because of these other situations.
Yeah, and Councillor Pennell?
Thank you, Worship. I just wanted to follow up on that, and I agree with Deputy Kaiser. my only thoughts is that with it being a no bag tag fee, I just didn't want people to think that they could just go spring cleaning right now. But I truly understand exactly what Max was saying, and I accept that. I just was a little concerned that, you know, we would get like the large amounts of bags as what was stated. So that's where I was coming with it. But I truly agree with these laneways and not knowing how many residents are there and how many bags were put out. So I just wanted to.
Your work. I'd like to comment if I could.
Certainly.
So on the next item, we're going to be talking about the landfills. And so I think what we're discussing right now is a bearing on the closure of the landfill. And so if people can't go to South Fred, as an example, to drop off on a weekly basis the 2-3 additional bags that they normally do, you're going to find them by the roadside. So as Deputy Mayor Kaiser pointed out, there has to be some flexibility depending on how we end up proceeding with the landfills.
I agree. And if I can just call just a little bit of a short, I'm supposed to be advancing my screen, and for some reason I have come back to the other agenda. So I'm going to need a little bit of IT help to get me up with the right agenda, please. Thank you. And now I've got everybody on my screen.
Could I offer some words while you're playing with your agenda?
You certainly can.
I'm just thinking maybe the simplest way to avoid the spring cleaning issue would be to say no bag tags, but bags only, that no large items, no other objects, whatever. If it's not in a bag, it won't be picked up. As far as being picked up for free, and if we're going to excuse the bags entirely, that it's bags only.
Any further comments?
Yeah, your worship.
Certainly, Councillor Richardson.
Yeah, I mean, I concur. It's going to be difficult, especially, I know at the end of our road, we've got a box. You know, the only other option to it is that anybody that has a box up there, they just identify on the box how many residences it surfaces, right? I mean, that's what all we can do. I mean, I can take a can of paint up there and say 4 residences from our street if you want to go the bag tag route. But I mean, other than that, you're right, because a lot of the roads out here, they're going to have you know, they may service 7 or 8 residences, you don't know, and then there may be some that are only servicing 1 or 2 and the rest are seasonal. So if that helps.
And if I might just comment too, it's not going to be any different from the apartment houses in town that would be exactly the same way. So I'm still having trouble trying to advance this agenda. I'm sorry for those that are watching live, but it just, it's not advancing for me. So I don't know whether it's me or the machine, and I have a suspicion after this week that it's me.
Mayor, excuse me.
Yes.
Everything's good now.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank goodness.
So one more comment, Your Worship.
No, as many comments as you want, because I think this is important.
So
Mayor,
under the
supposed
bag.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm looking at under the free garbage pickup as a financial impact of approximately $54,600 a month. That's a lot of money. And again, I want to get back to the next item on the agenda about the discussion regarding opening or not the landfill, and how much money could that save us in lieu of this 54,000? Just a discussion.
Now, Councillor Johnson, you had a comment?
I was just wondering, would it be possible to switch the order of our agenda, that we deal with the landfill sites first and then come back to this? Because the answer to one will impact the other.
No, you're exactly right. I would have to go to our clerk to see if we can advance the agenda to speak to the decision on the landfill site. Susan, can you give me some guidance on that, please?
Council can reorder the reports if they just want to do it by resolution.
By resolution, okay. So I would need a resolution from someone that we go to
I'll make that resolution.
So that we're going to leave what we're on right now, which is 5.3, and we will go on to 5.4 and then come back. We have not made any, we've just made comments on 5.3. We have not made any decision on 5.3. So I need a resolution to say that we can do that, please. Moved by Councillor Richardson, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Roll call, please.
Council McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Pennell, yes.
Nori, yes.
Johnson, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes, carried. Okay, so on to 5.4. Please make sure that I return to 5.3. So before you, you have the information on the landfill operations. You have and I don't know whether Susan can bring that up for me or not. You have a report that staff has prepared with some information to the landfill. So I'm going to let you have discussions first, and then we'll take it from there. Who wishes to speak to this, please? I can't see. I don't, Terry, I can see your whole hand, so
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm
That's
still,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Are you good there?
I'm good there. You go ahead. You've got the floor, please.
Thank you, Worship. I mean, my opinion is I'd like to see the landfills opened up. I did a bit of a canvas this morning, and I found that the Loyalist Township, the Stone Mills Township, Prince Edward County, Tynega Township, Thurlow Dump, Kingston, and the dumps in Caladar and Addington Highlands are all open. They've all been able to find ways to ensure social distancing and any requirements that are needed in these times are obtained and achieved. And I think it's important to our communities. I mean, I know we talk about, we are one of our own. We don't need to follow everybody else. But I think it's important to try and be consistent, especially in this local area. Now, I didn't venture out any further across the province. I thought I just stuck to our area and have a good idea as to what everybody else around us are doing. And all these local communities, some of the communities have roadside pickup. Some of the communities don't have roadside pickup. Some of them are far smaller than the town of Napanee. Some of them are far larger, but they've all seemed to have found ways to safely operate the landfills. And a lot of them are very similar to us. Some of them are open Saturdays, some of them are open Wednesdays and Saturdays. Obviously, the city of Kingston is open all week. So there's quite a range, quite a variety of communities that have found ways to open up the landfill sites. And I think it's important. We have to keep in mind that it's not just local residents that are using it. It's our small businesses and our contractors that when the landfills are closed for extended period of time, the trash is going to build up, and heaven forbid. And I know it's already happening. I was on the internet earlier today. I see that there's already a residence that had a bunch of stuff dumped in their fields. So I think it's important if we can find a way, and I know we have some very smart people and intelligent people in our community, to find a way to open up these landfills. So I do believe that we should.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
I'm actually going to speak in opposition to opening them. And I got a couple key points I want people to focus on. First off, we do still have the Richmond waste transfer site operated by Nyborg just up Highway 41, 5 minutes out of town. This gives some people an option within our municipality, but it's not our option. It's a private contractor who's offering it. So it's there. The second thing I want to point out is at this point in time, we're not looking long-term, we're looking short-term. This is about locking down movement and interaction at as many opportunities and levels as we can to stop the spread and flatten the curve. Right now, we're talking about a few weeks, not months, but 2 to 3 weeks. And I think in the interest of minimizing contact, minimizing spread, and minimizing activity, I'm going to add one more key point. It's March 27th. This isn't the middle of May. This isn't the middle of June. People aren't actively out in their yards regularly. It's still cool. It's still early. Things are not actively growing yet. Roofing, those kind of construction, yeah, there's some of it going on, but it's not full swing. And even for that matter, construction should really be limited to new construction, not building maintenance and existing residences and stuff. Some is, but it's about essential services and a minimum of time here. So I'm going to say we stay with the landfills closed. Our residents do have the site north on Highway 41, as indicated in the report there. And every resident has roadside available to them. Every resident can put a bag out at the end of the road or at the end of the driveway, and it's there. So this is not normal. We're talking about the extras, and the extras can either wait a couple weeks, or if they have to, they can drive to up towards Roblin there at the landfill or the waste transfer site.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to this, please? Councillor Pennell?
Thank you, Worship. So just going back to the cost here of the $54,000 a month, I think that would probably pretty much remain the same, because even though that people will be going to the dump, we'll still have tipping fees. The only difference I could really see out of this is the large items. And if we're going to be giving free bag tags to people that are using bags, then we'd have to obviously do that as well for at the dump. And but then how do we separate the large items that might just come in on that trailer or that truck at the same time? So I'm a little bit concerned about that. And again, as it's stated, everyone has access to roadside pickup. And as we also heard, it's early days right now. If there's a large item that could sit at your place for an extra couple of weeks or so, I do know that Mr. Ford has said that this could go into June or July, but we don't know that for a fact. So early days right now, and I think that if we're setting precedents against across our region, we need to have that same message delivered throughout. And so I would have to say that I'd like to see them remain closed. That's it.
Okay, any further comments? Councillor Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to speak also on behalf of the small contractors who might still be able to work in the community. And for them, this is creating quite a hardship. Where are they going to store materials as they need to get rid of them? And certainly this is not garbage that goes into bags. I know a lot of people who with self-isolation have started spring cleaning months earlier than they normally would. And people are reworking things in their house because they're spending so much time there. It would be helpful to everybody's peace of mind if they could get these things taken care of and moved away. I understand your point, Max, about the isolation and taking care of our people, and I totally agree with that. If we have somebody who would normally be working in that position who has concerns, would we have an option for just very temporarily to switch those positions around so that everybody feels safe in the workplace?
Any further comments from council?
Just one suggestion for contractors or people that have unusually larger loads that are, members of the community and still have ongoing businesses. Would it be something feasible where an appointment could be made and there would be no physical contact between the attendant at the landfill, but that the gate could be open for these people to come, and that address could be have the charge added to their tax bill. No exchange of money, but I mean, you have there's jobs that are going on in the area that I see here, and you have tandem axle dump trucks that have to go and put their waste somewhere, and if they can't dump it, they won't be able to go to the next job. And this is all outdoor work without contact with the general public. So if you have a recognized business who could make a call ahead of time and schedule a time for a load to be dumped, it's just an option possibly that we could talk about.
Councillor Pennell, I think you were ready to speak there. No, somebody.
Nope, but I will, because I was just
Oh, sorry,
thinking,
I'm sorry, Counselor Pennell. It was Counselor Nori who had his hand up. I'm sorry. Counselor
Thank you.
Nori?
Thank you very much. I'm going to go back to some of the emails I sent out that during this time of distress for a lot of people, they need something good, something to do. And I'm looking out my window here, and there's about 6 neighbors doing their lawns right now and loading up the back of their trucks. And people are working. I think we can easily protect our staff, as many stores are doing, with social distance, make the public feel good. And they are out working right now. And I believe it's a good way to do it. I heard some concern about washing hands. Well, experts say cold water and soap. So we could fill up one of those white containers for the staff and throw away gloves and if they have to touch money. But I think it's a feel-good thing for the public during this uncertain time. And any thing you read, the time frame is unknown. So if we stop now, do we start in 2 weeks and are we putting them in the same position? So I'm in favor of opening them up and giving the public feel-good times, for lack of a better word.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser?
I guess a question for staff through you, your worship. Can we accommodate appointment making, and could we record address and attach to the roll number a tax time or something so that we can avoid cash transfers? If it was by, that's not a bad idea that Councillor McCormick put forward, that if we did it by appointment only, then I think that would allow the people who need it the opportunity to use it without it being like a frivolous use, that if you have to go to the trouble of making an appointment and having it show up on your tax bill later, but then if it's a small business, should it be on their tax bill? Should it be somewhere else? Is there some arrangement we can make?
Peter, I think you're on there now, please.
Through your worship, I'm sure staff can come up with different suggestions for that. One of the challenges, even if we look at prior to this happening, one of the things where close contact comes into play is, one, the money, so that could be dealt with. Another place where close contact does come into play is inspection of the loads prior to disposal. So our landfill disposal sites, depending on where the waste is going, they're regulated through an ECA. So, and we do have ongoing concerns under normal operations to make sure we're only accepting the appropriate material. So there's still going to have to be staff that get close. Staff wouldn't recommend that we basically open the gates and do no follow-up, because we're going to put the municipality at risk from an environmental perspective that way.
Thank you. Councillor Richardson, do you have any further questions? I think you do.
Yeah, and it's more just of a statement, but I mean, we're talking 1 day a week. We're talking on a Saturday, right? I mean, I would hate to get into the situation where somebody phones and says, well, the only day I can get there is Tuesday afternoon. So can somebody meet me at the dump on Tuesday afternoon down in South Fredericksburg? Or well, Thursday morning, I'm going by up at, up north in Roblin, I want to meet somebody. We're talking 1 day. We're talking, minute max, probably 8 hours. There are many workarounds, I'm sure, that we can deal with, as far as, I mean, the other landfills are dealing with it. I mean, if you have to inspect, what we could do is and I know it's happened in other professions, is you have if it's a concern to look at what's in the back of the truck or the back of the trailer, the driver coming in can get out of his vehicle and lift up stuff that is not visible to the attendant. The attendant can still maintain a 6 foot distance from the attendant, or from the person that's bringing the stuff in. I mean, I don't see, and I don't want to profess to tell anybody how to do their job, but I mean, we can work through this, and I think it's important. I agree with Councillor Noria. This little piece of normalcy in a world that isn't normal right now, it goes a long way, and I just think it's important to our community, especially since we are the only community within a 50-kilometer radius that aren't offering the service.
I believe that the next hand up would be Deputy Mayor Kaiser's, please.
I'm going to suggest at this point in time, perhaps we I'm going to return to the idea that the whole self-isolation and lockdown of our society, if you will, is really meant to be temporary at this time, that we hold off on opening the dumps just yet. But maybe, and if you want, this is a motion, that staff investigate measures, protocols, and procedures that should this period extend past, April 6th or something, that the dumps could open at that time with new provisions. And investigations might include Ministry of the Environment protocols, payment protocols, appointments only type of operations. And that gives staff time, a week or two to figure out how we can do it, that we still meet MOE criteria and all the rest of it. And at that time, if it's seen that this isolation is going to extend, past the end of April or something like that, then we take the step to do it at that time. But right now we hold them closed for now, but maybe get ready and line up our ducks so that if we have to open them up, that we're prepared to do it safely and manage all the parts that we need to manage.
So by way of, Councillor McCormack?
I'd just like to add, if we consider programs like Nexus for the travelers, frequent travelers back and forth across the border, we can pre-screen businesses that operate in Greater Napanee that have a history. If Saturday mornings, I see them on a regular basis, it's the same people with loads of material from the type of businesses that they conduct that has to be dumped somewhere. And these are upstanding citizens and ratepayers of our town. And I'm just trying to accommodate them. So if we had a program where they could call, register, there would be a questionnaire, and they would be told that only certain there's limitations. We're not looking for a 2x3 small trailer. We're looking for loads of a certain size and up, and they understand that they're going to be getting a bill for taxes. Just an accommodation. So. Okay.
I'm looking at hands here, and I believe that Councillor and that wasn't by way of motion. I'll be with you in just one second, Councillor Pennell. Deputy Mayor Kaiser, at this point, that wasn't a motion. You'll allow more conversation.
Yeah, agreed. We can still keep talking about it, but when it comes to it, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Councillor Pennell.
I just have one last thing to say about this before we can move on, is that they're all really great ideas. Looks like there's going to be some work involved in finding a solution for this. But currently right now, with it being early days, we do have a private contractor that's open for business. And I think that if that private contractor closes down, then we will have to do something for the residents of Greater Napanee. And I think it's at that point that we look into opening our waste disposal sites.
Okay. Anyone further before I make my last statement? Councillor Johnson.
I like the idea of putting an end date on this and leaving it up to staff as to how they're best going to be able to deal with it. I don't know when our next council meeting is, and in this rapidly changing environment, do we need to have this discussion again, or do we just need to suggest perhaps give everybody a date? The dumps will be open as of this date, and staff will manage it as the best way that they can come up with.
Thank you. Councillor Richardson, do I see your hand up again?
Yeah, sorry, Your Worship.
No, that's no problem. I just can't tell.
Yeah, no, sorry. It's trying to get this camera to sit in the right spot. It's not as easy. In any event, I mean, I don't want to complicate things here, but we're talking about opening the dump. And the process to open the dump, it doesn't need a report. It doesn't need a study. It doesn't need any of it. You know, as simple as making a number of phone calls to our neighbors to say, how did you open your dump and make it safe, is really quite simple. And you know, we did that when we talked about our budgeting, and we did that, you know, we talked about, and we want to keep things consistent, and there's nothing consistent with this. And it's just, I guess I'm complicated, or I'm confused that how we can make such a simple process so difficult. You know, can we open the dump or can we not open the dump? You know, and can we do it safely? Other people can, and so why don't we? You know, and just keep it simple. I don't. In my world, anyway. Sorry about that. I'll stop talking.
You don't have to be sorry. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I guess my only thought, I want to do what makes it easy for everyone as well. I look at it at right now, there is an alternative. My fear is we make a decision and we decide to open it. And then tomorrow, the numbers just rapidly escalate and we will have a much larger shutdown, which could very well mean that because we have an alternative source or an alternative method of having our garbage disposed of, in that it can be picked up at the curb. I know that's not including construction and brush and so on, but we can't talk about that right now. Now we're talking about garbage. We make this decision to do it today, and tomorrow the mixed message is going to come out, or Monday the mixed message is going to come out that guess what, we're up way over our limit as to what we can handle for community spread, and we will be shut down. It is not just opening the garbage. I'd love to see it open too, but it's not just opening the dump. I don't see it as being that simple. We've got another place that we have to watch about social distancing. We have another place that perhaps we're putting employees in uncomfortable positions and at risk. I wish it was that simple, but I don't see it as that simple. But I think we've kind of gone around this, what I'm going to look for, unless somebody else has got something to say because it's important, I think we need to move on. You have a recommendation before you that further that both the Roblin and South Fredericksburg waste disposal sites remain closed until municipal buildings are reopened to the general public. You can adjust that as you wish, Council.
I'll jump in.
Okay. You're making it as exactly what we've had recommended to us?
Who, me? Is it me?
Yes, it is. Sorry.
I'll move staff recommendation, but I will make a slight addition.
Okay.
That in the event that municipal buildings are closed for an extended period of time, and I'm not going to be very specific on that, but I might say if according to provincial and health guidelines that we're recommended to stay closed beyond the end of April, that the staff be ready with a plan on how we could open the dumps to address all of the concerns and ideas that have been presented here. But in the meantime, that the dumps remain closed at this time.
So moved by Deputy Mayor Kaiser. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Pennell is seconding that. Susan, before I ask for the vote, do you have the information and do you have the motion that you need? Or the information on the motion you need?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, again, a recorded vote, and this is on 5.4. Does anyone want the information repeated before they vote?
Could I just make a comment? I would support the motion if it could be revisited at our next council meeting. A more short term than than base it on the reopening of town buildings.
So you're asking Deputy Mayor Kaiser and Councillor Pennell for a friendly amendment to make that it would be discussed again at the next council meeting, which I don't think is going to be too long.
Yes, please.
Both of them have got thumbs up. Susan, do you have what you need?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to call the question here, folks. Ward 1.
Yes.
Ward 2.
No.
Ward 3.
Yes.
Ward 4.
No.
Ward 5.
No.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
Yes.
Mayor Isbester is voting yes as well. Motion is carried. Okay, now we're going back to 5.3, which is the financial relief for the community. We were discussing before. You have the report before you, and I'll wait till it gets up on the screen for those that are watching, although it is online for you to watch at the same time. So we do have a recommendation that council receive for information, the financial relief for the community report, and further the council approved the proposed staff recommendations in this report, and further the clerk prepare the bylaw. So if you want to go through these sort of line by line, council want to deal with the first ones. What we've got there is a staff recommendation: waive the interest and penalties for the April 24th tax installment, which is normally added May the 1st. Waive penalties and interest for the March 27th utilities due date, which is normally added April the 1st and would cover all interest up until May 27th, 2020 due date, because they're in a 2-month cycle. Remove residents and businesses from the pre-authorized payment plans as requested. So therefore that meaning for everybody, and I'm sure you know what it means, that people who have their either their water bills or prepaid taxes come out, that they could waive that for the time being if they request it. Waive any NSF fees for PAP transactions for April and May in case they do it. Authorize the pickup of 1 or 2 bags of garbage per week without a bag tag, starting immediately and continuing until council reassesses. Reassess in May to possibly extend penalty and interest for longer periods. You can either do these by individual motions, or we can do it all at once if there's agreement for everything.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Can we have a discussion first?
You sure can.
Okay, I just have a couple of things. One is we'll talk about in number 5. We'll talk about it in a second. But the pre-authorized payments. I'm going to bring out the realtor and myself here. What can be done for people who are paying their taxes with their mortgage payments? Would they have to stop that at the bank, or is that something that could be stopped at the town?
I'm not sure. I'm going to defer here to Paul, because that's probably a question that he has looked into for us. Paul, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That would be something that would have to be done through the bank. I am in touch with our own bank and looking at relief on the other side, the bank side, for NSF charges. And I'm also waiting to hear back about people getting off the automatic collection at the bank level. I don't have that information at this point, but I will update council as soon as I get it.
Okay, thank you. And thank you very much for that, Paul. And just number 5 is that I think we discussed that at an earlier time when we went through this, that we would eliminate the number of bags.
Yeah.
That could be put out. So whoever is the person that's going to make this recommendation, then I would probably want to have that amended.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. So the financial implications for those people that are watching online and maybe don't have the agenda right in front of them, and I should be back a little bit. We have analyzed the county and the county levies for March 31st and June 30th, because we collect the taxes, but we have to pay them up to them. School board March 31st levy and June 30th. Those are things that we have to consider for our cash flows. OPP monthly billings, which I signed today. Decreased town spending during the current economic landscape, and Water Street construction. So, you know, our cash flow, I mean, it says right here exactly what we can do. I don't think I need to read it out to you, but it also shows that through tax and water for us, waiving of penalties and interest, it shows you the financial implications of $41,250 per month for waiving, as well as approximately $4,500 a month for water. Something that I would like to say that we consider is, does everybody get this, or do people have to apply for it? Just to throw something in. Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to jump around here just a little bit. First off, I think we should probably separate the bag tags from the rest of this discussion, just because it seems to be a standalone item, as was the dump. It probably could have been grouped with the dump, actually, but I'd like to park that for a second. On the rest of it, one of my questions is, and I don't know if it's impossible, I know that we're talking with the OPP about what they are willing to do and accommodate, and I know we don't have an answer, nor do we expect one in the near days, about whether we can delay paying their bills if we're not getting paid on our taxes. And I think on the other side, the school board, the province is, if I'm not mistaken, they're considering or looking at, or the question's been asked about deferring school tax portion. But if we have slippage in payments, can we pay that slippage forward on county and education portions so that we're not bearing the full burden of slippage, that we're sharing that burden on the other two sectors? We are the collection agency for the county, so we're the only way that can happen, but we're required to forward their full amount. So my question first is, can we request a sharing of slippage? At that point, then, I support all of these recommendations about waiving interest and penalties and reassessing in May, because it's a hardship. Like I said, we all need to sort of share the pain. But on that front, we absolutely have to be asking the county and the school board, the education, to be sharing the pain. So I guess I'm going to start with the question: can we even track it to that extent and share that pain?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have an answer, because we don't know as of yet. And I do think that both levels of government above us, both the provincial and the federal, are doing the right thing in looking at, oh, I'm sorry, Paul, did you wish to speak to this?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, and I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to get in queue for the next portion. The school board has released an announcement that they are delaying they're deferring the payment in June for 90 days. Really what it is we still have our payment amount. It's scheduled for June 30th. However, they are letting it slip with no penalties for 90 days. So that has been confirmed. The county, I believe that in their next meeting, we'll have some discussions with looking at the possibility of following along with lower tiers. As county treasurers, we have all been meeting on this and looking at moving forward, as was reported or stated in this report, moving forward as much as we can in a consistent manner. So that is up for discussion at this point. The OPP has been contacted. The question has been asked. They are considering it. At this point, there is no decision, but as soon as that decision is made, we will have that information from council.
Thank you very much, Paul. I'll continue on with my statement. Was the fact that at this point, and I do think that the provincial and federal governments are doing it in the right sequence, is they're looking at the taxpayer first, and then looking at what they can do for us second. I do have every hope, and I do have the confidence that they're not going to leave us hanging, because we're the ones that can't run in a deficit. And we'll need the help. And that's why we track every single cost, every single hour of work that's going toward things for this pandemic, every purchase that we make. So we have that. We will get some funding, but it's just our own income that's being hurt. So am I hearing that you would like to deal with the recommendation on the waiving the interest and waiving the penalties, remove everything that's in the staff recommendation, and then come back to the bag tags? Is that what I'm hearing from council?
Yes.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Kaiser, said you would make the motion when the time came.
So what I'd like to do then is on this, I would make a motion to accept staff recommendation after we pull item 5, the authorized to pick up of 1 or 2 bags without bag tag. Pull item 5 out, and the other 5 recommendations are making the motion for. Yes.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that? Yeah, Councillor Johnson. Any
Can I
further?
also make a comment?
You sure can. I was just about to say, any comments or questions?
I like the way that this is worded. A lot of communities are just using the terminology defer the taxes. This allows each individual person to decide whether or not they want to defer the taxes in their own household, still being aware that those taxes will be owed by the end of the year. Some people can be misled by the term of deferred taxes and not realize they will still owe those dollars by the end of the year in another community. So I really appreciate the way this is worded.
Okay, anything? Oh, sorry, Terry, did you have your hand up? Councillor Richardson?
No, sorry, your worship, I was just
No.
taking a drink of water there, so.
Sorry. Councillor Pennell.
Thank you, Worship. Well, we're talking about the financial implications, and I know that this isn't in the staff recommendation, but I am reading that the Water Street construction. I'm just wondering, because that's fairly expensive. I'm just wondering where we're at with that contract. Has the contractor been awarded it? Have they started to gather equipment and supplies, and could that be deferred at this time without penalty to us?
Mr. Dafo, are you with us? Yeah, Peter, did you wish to speak to that?
Your worship, that contract has been awarded already. So the intent, and Paul can speak more to the reserve balances and stuff like that can support this project. But the intent of that project is to move forward within a couple of weeks. There'll be pre-construction meeting coming up shortly that will identify the actual starting dates. And there are COVID work plans in place, and the provincial legislation does permit that type of work to move forward as well.
Okay, I thank you for that, Peter. Thank you.
Okay, did you wish, Paul, did you wish to speak any further to that as to the reserve, so everybody's aware, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd actually just even refer back to the cash flow information that was contained within the body of the report. That is taking into accommodation this contract, which we would start seeing cash outflows in June, continuing on through to November. So as far as cash flows go, it has been considered with these dates. These dates are really kind of showing council where we can be in our general bank account before we draw on any sort of overdraft or start drawing on reserves. But there are other financing means available at the same time.
Okay, any further questions? Thank you, Paul. Any further questions of, sorry, Councillor Norrie?
Sorry,
That's okay.
just thinking for those, if this goes through, that are able to and do pay their taxes, their water bills on time, is there any thought at the end when everybody else starts paying, when things lessen up, they might get a month's break, not free, nothing free, just they then get a bonus of not having to pay the last one for a month later or something like that, just to say thank you. So the town gets a cash flow for those that can afford it right now. And then when everybody starts paying, they get their month's break. Has been any thinking like that?
May I chime in?
You may.
Okay, so on that point, I think that's a really interesting idea, but I think most financial advisors are advising that in the case of mortgage payments, in the case of any bills or anything else where deferrals are offered or relief is offered, it's well advised that if you can continue business as usual, so anything short of that is more or less shooting yourself in the foot later. Now, I know it's not the same in the case of taxes, that you would get there eventually anyways, but I don't see a good logic. As much as it's appreciated, and I think we can recognize that, I don't see any good logic in, and I guess I'm not really following what you're asking for, Bob, because if we pay our quarterly installment on time, we got to pay our next one on time, we got to pay our next one on time. Where's the pat on the head come from that? But personally, if you can continue business as usual, making all your payments, that is the best thing for your financial health individually anyways.
Okay. It's, yeah, Councillor
All right.
Norrie.
Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse things. It's just that for those that can and do, when everything gets back to normal, maybe they could say, just wait an extra month to pay it and you get a little break yourself in the June one and you get it end of July or something. I'm just trying to saying thank you to people for getting a cash flow when they can to the town or something like that. I don't know. It's just an idea to, for those that can, because if not, people will say the heck with it. We're just going to keep our money in the bank and wait till the end. And then there's less cash flow for the town. That's just my thinking, but I'm not a financial expert. I just pay my bills.
Okay, do we have a motion yet? I've kind of lost track, sorry. We do have a motion?
Yes,
have a
we do.
mover? We have a mover and a seconder.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. And everybody's understanding the motion? Yeah, Councillor Pennell?
Sorry, I just have one thing. I remember you saying, are we going to be just giving this to everybody, or do they have to request it? Did we deal with that? I'm kind of lost.
It was just a statement of mine. I think I think it could confuse. Sorry, I see Paul on the screen. Paul, have you got a comment there?
As far as the waiving the penalty and interest, that would be automatic. For people getting off the pre-authorized payment plan, that would require them to call in, and we have staff ready to handle the amount of calls that may come in. And again, for the PAP, the waiving of the NSF fees, that would be automatic.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Paul.
Okay, anything further? And then this will just deal with, this is not dealing with, I want to make sure we understand, this is not dealing with the number of bag tags. Councillor McCormack, you've got your hand up, yeah.
Well, number 6, can we be more specific as to when in May we're looking to reassess this?
So tighten up the date is what you're asking?
If we could.
Yeah. I saw Paul come up there. Paul, did you have a statement on that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My suggestion would be that we would deal with it at either a regular meeting of council, whether at that point it be in person or online, or what we call a special meeting. I know that there was interest from the last meeting as far as passing the budget to provide more information, and we could kind of look at both issues at the same time.
Okay, all of council good there. So what the recommendation is doing is number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Not speaking to number 5 at this point. I'm going to call the question, of course, a recorded vote. So if we will start with Ward 1, please.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Pennell, yes.
Norrie, yes.
Johnson, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes. Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Now we will go back to speaking about number 5, which was authorizing the pickup of 1 or 2 bags of garbage per week without a bag tag, starting immediately and continuing until council reassesses. Council's wishes. Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
I'm going to jump right in and say, based on our decision on the dumps at this time, that we authorize the collection of bagged garbage without bag tags for the near term while we are in this period of isolation. No restriction.
Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Pennell, are you seconding it?
I am. I like that terminology and I'll second that.
Okay, conversation, comments, questions? Councillor Richardson?
Maybe we should just, maybe we should have done it from the start, but maybe we should marry it up with the dump issue. You want to marry it up and bring it back when the dump issue comes back?
I think we could certainly communicate them together. We've already dealt with the one. We've got this as a separate motion. I think we can communicate them as one communication effort.
So now you've got me confused. What are we doing with these bag tags?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I mean, I get, again, we can either just make the decision, it seems to be a little bit open-ended, or we can just make the decision to have free bag tags until such time as we come back to council with respect to the dump issue. I mean, either or, it doesn't matter, but I guess, I just, if we're going to marry them up, we probably should marry them up. If not, then we just stand alone with the bag tag issue.
Well, Councillor Pennell had his hand up first. Councillor Pennell?
Thank you, Worship. Is there any reason why we can't marry this up at our next meeting when we bring it back? But I think putting hard dates onto this is a little bit hard right now because it could all change tomorrow. So I just have a hard time putting a hard date on something right now. I know that how many things are changing on a day-to-day, on an hourly basis. So that's just what I want to say about a hard date.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
As the mover, I didn't understand what Mr. Richardson said initially, but I do now. So yes, in the motion, I would suggest that we move to bagged garbage without tags, unlimited, until such time as we reconsider our position on the dumps and whether they're open or closed. So marrying them in that way, whatever words are most appropriate, yes.
We've got a motion on the floor that doesn't quite marry in with that. So Councillor Richardson, are you asking for a friendly amendment to marry it with the unlimited until we make the decision regarding the landfill? Are you making that request for a friendly amendment? Sorry, you're muted.
Oops, sorry, Your Worship. Yes, that would be correct.
Okay, mover, seconder. Everybody understand the motion? Okay, recorded vote. Started off.
McCormack, yes.
Yep, Ward 1, please.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Pennell, yes.
4 yes.
Johnson, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, I just got to get back to find out where I am on my agenda here. Sorry. 5.5 is the Infrastructure Services Utilities Infrastructure Canada funding agreement for upgrades to the wastewater treatment plant. You have a recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Greater Napanee received for information regarding the draft integrated bilateral agreement for the Town of Greater Napanee, and further the Council duly authorizes by resolution that the Corporation of the Town of Greater Napanee has the capacity and authority to enter in and execute this agreement in accordance with Section 4A of the agreement. And further, the Council authorizes the Mayor and the Clerk to execute the Infrastructure Canada funding integrated bilateral agreement for the Town of Greater Napanee Water Pollution Control Plant expansion on behalf of the Corporation of the Town of Greater Napanee. Council's wishes. Deputy, sorry, Councillor Pennell.
Yeah, as I'll move as recommended. Yes.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Kaiser. Comments or questions? Oh, you know, it goes, I got to go through this again. I can't just go all in favor of the motion. Ward 1.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Pennell, yes.
Ward 4 yes.
Johnson, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes. Carried unanimously. Thank you. CAO 5.6 CAO options for the town's OPP policing contract. Our current contract expires in June of 2020. I know our CAO is on here, and I would like Ray, if you don't mind, speaking to this first, and then we can have our conversation, please.
Sorry, Council, I see my emergency management title still up there too, so I apologize for that. The report itself is just simply, as Council's aware, that Council had requested a presentation before our contract expires this year. With everything currently going on, the OPP isn't out doing presentations actively in their contract branch. They had presented, sent a quick email just saying, would Council consider either just extending it till the end of the year or looking at a longer term contract. I think at this point, with everything we're doing as far as just pushing some dates further down to give everybody more time to breathe and make some real decisions, certainly the recommendation would be just to try and push the date until December of this year. The real concern with the expiry of the contract date at this current time, it doesn't affect anything on the expenditure side for us. The real issue for us is the revenue side. We certainly have grants coming in this year where we've made expenditures toward community safety planning. So it's just, and between that and our other grants that we do currently get and are entitled to because we have a contract in place, I would recommend that we try and keep those revenue sources as secure as we possibly can until the end of the year. It would also give us an opportunity to have those presentations and have Council ask detailed questions of contract branch as we move forward. Because I know certainly in our previous meeting there, Council did indicate they had some issues they would like to discuss moving forward as far as our contract goes.
Any questions or comments to Ray as to which direction you'd like to go in here, please?
Your worship.
Yes.
So I'm just curious, it's just a question. Some of the surrounding municipalities don't have contracts with the OPP, if I'm not mistaken. And are they less favored when it comes to receiving grants because they don't have a contract?
Ray, will you come back to that, please? You're muted. There you go.
Yep. Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. Yes, they are actually. A few of the grants that we have received are only available to municipalities that have contracts, and community safety planning being the biggest one. Other area municipalities have gone through our police service board agreement. This municipality is getting the benefit of the grant itself towards our share of the community safety planning, where other municipalities are taking that from their current tax base.
Councillor Richardson?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I don't really see we have any option. I wouldn't be agreeable to extending it. If we extend it 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road, we're dumping this onto another council, and I don't believe that would be fair. I think we should address this. We got some very, very important issues, some big dollar issues that we have to deal with the OPP. And I, for one, would be looking very forward to having some kind of a presentation by the OPP to explain a number of things, why, especially with respect to why our costings have gone up and why it's so expensive to police this community. So really, in my world, our only real option is to extend this until the end of the year so that we can get the OPP and the contract policing bureau down to speak to us. I guess if there was another option, it was to let it run out and then renegotiate at the end of the year. But by the sounds of things, it's probably not the best fiscal decision to let it run out and renegotiate or negotiate a new contract at the end of the year. So really, I don't see any other options.
So Councillor Richardson, are you making that by way of motion to take option 1, which is the extension of the current policing contract until December 31st, 2020?
I will, but I just make sure we get everybody an opportunity to speak with it, to speak about it. So, but I will once everybody's spoken to it.
Yeah. Okay. So we won't entertain a motion right now. Councillor Pennell, you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Worship. I too echo the comments that have already been made, is that we have a lot of unanswered questions here. And I would like to believe that the OPP would have came and talked to us. But with this situation that we're in right now, I think that I could only sleep better at night knowing that I'm only going to make a decision based on extending it to the end of the year. And we'll see what they have to say from there. But I just wanted to echo everybody else's thoughts. And when it comes to a motion, that's the way I'd like to see it.
Okay, any further comments by anyone? Okay, Councillor Richardson, looks like no further comments. Did you wish to make the motion, please?
I'll make the motion, Your Worship, under 5.6 sub 1, and an extension to the current policing contract until the end of the year, December 31st, 2020.
And Deputy Mayor Kaiser has his hand up to second that. Any further comments or questions? Okay, roll call again, please.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Pennell, yes.
Ward 4, yes.
Johnson, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes, carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we're on to bylaws here. Bylaw number 2020-0022 to amend certain bylaws to provide financial relief for the community during a state of emergency. First, second, and third reading. Moved by
Mayor Isbester?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Just that this bylaw will need to be amended just regarding the bag tags and the landfill site. So as amended, please.
As amended. Sorry. Thank you very much, Susan. So as amended, moved by, I had Deputy Mayor Kaiser, seconded by Councillor McCormack. Any comments or questions? Roll call again.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Pennell, yes.
Nori, yes.
Johnson, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes, carried unanimously. Bylaw number 2020-0023 to amend bylaw number 2018-0061 to appoint CEMC and alternates. First and second reading, moved by Councillor McCormack, seconded by Councillor Pennell. Comments or questions? Roll call, please.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Pennell, yes.
Nori, yes.
Ward 5, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes. Okay, statements by members. Do I want to do this by wards or how would you like to do it?
Sure.
Okay, so is that agreeable with everybody? And then if John wants to come back and have a second go at it after some, well, I'll make sure that everybody gets good opportunity to speak, because we're not going to be meeting on such a regular basis. We will be meeting again soon, though. Councillor McCormack.
Well, Your Worship, I'd like to defer to Councillor Richardson, and I'll come back afterwards if something comes to mind of importance.
Okay, Councillor Richardson.
Is this one I defer to Ward 3, but I won't.
You can, sure you can.
No, that's all right, Your Worship. I just want to thank the community with respect to how they performed so far. I don't know if it was an opportunity or not, but I have been out to some local businesses to pick up some supplies that I needed at the house here, and I was quite impressed with the social distancing that was happening, at least from what I observed, was happening within the community. I think the community is taken seriously, and I think the community will fare very well getting through this. I had the opportunity, and it's funny we talk about policing, but I had the opportunity to see a video this morning which spoke about social distancing and stuff, and it was produced by the OPP. It was very down to earth. It was very revealing. It was very good. It was very well put together. It didn't minimize by any stretch of the imagination what we're dealing with right now, but it also reinforced to people that we will get through this. And the most important thing that we have to do is just not put our hands to our face. We can be subjected to this virus anywhere, anytime, and probably have. And as long as we keep our hands washed and we don't put our hands to our face and maintain the social distancing, we're all going to come through this very well. And it was very stark reminder is that this virus is a virus that no person on this earth has experienced. It's a brand new virus, and that's why it is running the way that it is. So we'll be better prepared for it if in fact it ever reappears. There's no doubt, but I'm quite happy with what I've seen within the community in any event. Thank you.
Ward 3?
Thank you, Worship. I just want to say that, you know, I'm happy to see that the parks are closing, or that have closed. You know, so it's probably not going to be a very popular decision with everyone being home and stuff. But the thing is, the words of a wise man, Deputy Chief Bill Hammond, wrote to me that stay home, stay safe. And those words mean a lot. We can nip this in the butt by staying home and you know, everybody says about flattening the curve and all this sort of stuff. But seriously, it starts with each and every one of us. We have no idea where the other person's been. If we just stay home, then we can do our part if everyone does that. We need to get that message out there. We still see people very close together. But I'd just like to say that our community is coming together. We needed to go a little bit faster before we do become into lockdown, which we don't want. But you know, back when we were doing our orientation up in the Selby Hall, we talked about what happens if there was an emergency in this town. And I never thought that it would happen, but we always have to be prepared. And I'm very pleased with the way that all levels of our town have come together and are working together through this. You know, I made a joke back then, I don't know if you remember or not, but I said that there will be certain people that will be inside of the pod and us counselors will be on the outside looking in. But I see that everything's being taken care of so far, and I'm proud to be a resident here because our staff is doing a great job. And I guess I'll just leave it at there, but just as it's been said, stay home and stay safe.
Ward, where am I at? Ward 4.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is where I was told I could talk about this. It's a BIA issue. The BIA board had a little video conference the other day. Basically, the BIA is taking a hiatus. And in speaking to Mr. Zetterberg today, fees are being waived to save any of the business people or BIA partners so they won't have to pay, hopefully to the end of 2020 is one idea. We had a manager we were going to hire that's put on hold to save paying staff. Our rent in the BIA office ends April 30th. We're letting that slide. We're not going to renew it. And Mr. Zetterberg says possibly staff can help move some of the files out, but we can get into those details a little later. Obviously, we're not even talking about functions, even Christmas. We're just going to stay back and wait. But on good news, My FM today offered the BIA free ads for 1 month, for the month of April. And so I'm just going to meet with the chairperson, Joseph from Seasons, and to see what they want. And we're going to take advantage of that just to let everybody know we are coming back and things will get better. So that's all I have to say. And thanks to the staff for all their hard work.
Thanks, Councillor Norrie, and that offer from MyFM was also extended through the chamber too, and they were getting a hold of the county, so they're trying to get some real good news stuff out there. So that's wonderful. That's showing business coming together. Thanks for bringing that up. Ward 5.
Thank you. I think I'd like to start by thanking staff. Everybody's working under a lot of pressure and a lot of scrutiny and a lot of uncertainty. And just the fact that they're coming into work or working from home, both are equally valuable. Sometimes working from home is harder. That they're making sure that the business of the town continues and that people are able to have faith that the town will take care of them and we will come out of this process at the end. We've had so many businesses in town who've either shut down or partially shut down or have opened their doors wider, not to mention our healthcare workers. And it's, as you all said, it's an unprecedented situation. And the way we will come out of this is by working together. And I just have a big thank you on that.
Good. Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Ward, I'll go back to Ward 1.
I'll reiterate what everybody said. I want to thank staff absolutely for all the work they're doing, and also comment on the mayor's job. Not an easy task at the moment, but we're in good hands. And I hope everybody stays safe and wash your hands and drink lots of fluids, especially warm fluids, because the virus gets destroyed if it goes into your stomach. The enzymes in your stomach will kill the virus. So very important to wash your hands and drink lots.
Good, thank you. Thanks, Councillor McCormick. Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll echo what everyone else has just said. A huge shout out and a sincere thank you to all of our staff, that we expect them to continue working, providing the essential services that we have, and that they are. And more than that, our senior management and you yourself, Your Worship, the amount of time that I know that you're spending, and you haven't asked me for very much help. I'm here and I am ready and available if you need me, but you haven't at this point asked for very much. And I know how hard you're working, how many hours you're putting in the day, or at least I have a sense. And Ray and Susan and all the senior staff, huge shout out. Secondly, I'd like to just state that I do believe in the best of people, and there are a few examples in our community of some foolish behavior, people who aren't seeming to get it. They're not giving the social distancing, they're not, staying home, but those are really and truly only the few. Most people are getting it, as Councillor Richardson said, and the traffic on the roads, the activity around town. And yes, when I have to go to the grocery store, one of us goes in, and it's been me. And I've seen the distance that people are spacing in the store, and it's not crowded, and I haven't seen anything bad as far as that goes. The third thing I'd like to mention is, for the benefit of the public, really, virtual meetings like we're doing right now today are not desirable. These are not to become the new norm. As far as I understand it, we are doing this for special circumstances, and we will be glad to be back in chambers as soon as it is appropriate and safe and permitted to do so. I think it's a wonderful time we live in, that we can do these sorts of things, that we can conduct our business to such an extent, that we can visit family and friends through these sorts of portals. But no, I'd much rather be live and in person. So anyways, that's really all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything anybody wants to add before I have my little say? That's the nice thing about being last, is I can take my cues from you. I don't think any of us thought when we took this emergency training, and I took it at 2 levels, both upper and town, and never ever did I ever think that we'd have to put something like this into place. Also, when I signed both those declarations yesterday, we are tightening up, but I don't think that we have reached how much we're going to tighten. I think it's important, as Councillor McCormick and all of you have said, is there's been so much good, and we've had so many good people that have done the right things. But we can be hurt from those that don't. So you need to impress when people call. You don't want to scare people. We don't need panic as well as a pandemic. But if people don't realize how serious this is it going to take someone within our boundaries, within Lennox and Addington, to pass away? And then we're going to think we haven't done our part. So we have to keep going on that. Doesn't matter what kind of guff we have to take, we have to do it. I cannot thank staff and council, every one of you. And I know, Deputy Mayor Kaiser, you say I haven't called on you. We've only just begun, as the song goes. You all have done a tremendous amount, because you have been so accessible to the people that you represent, whether it's in your wards, whether it's your friends. I get all kinds of compliments at how outgoing you are, how good you are to return phone calls. and return emails and texts and so on. And that takes a lot of pressure off staff, takes a lot of pressure off me. Maybe it wasn't the wisest year in the world to choose to be warden and mayor, but we're there. And I can't think that it was my choice. Very few folks are making it tough for the rest of us. So we just have to stay the course and make sure that we keep hammering. Live streaming, I think, will always be that, but I'm with Deputy Mayor Kaiser. We need to be back in the room. It's really hard to see these hands flying up. It's really hard not to see, although I can see expressions on faces just a little bit better, but it's not, yeah, like that. It's not like being in the same room and having people in the room with us. And I hope lots of people have joined this through the live stream, and I hope lots of people will give us comments as to how it worked. Social media can either help us or hurt. And in so many instances, to see the good postings that are on there from the town trying to communicate, from the county trying to communicate, from the provincial and federal levels of government, from the health units, from the hospital, from every organization within here. And we have to take those good ones with the bad ones. The bad ones are out there. We know that we're trying to do everything that we possibly can to help. So don't let the junk get in the way. We're not going to make everybody happy, but we're going to get through this by keeping our noses to the grindstone. Wouldn't want to work with any other group at either this or county level, any other staff. So I won't go on and on and on, but I think you know where I'm coming from. I'm getting a little tired. More than that, I'm getting a little crusty. But we're all doing what we're supposed to do. And I thank you and I ask you to keep it up. Anything further from council? Yep, Councillor Richardson.
I'm just looking forward to the longest day of golf broadcast on Zoom.
Did you have your hand up, Councillor Richardson?
No, sorry, Your Worship. I was just trying to scroll up through the thing
We're
here while I was.
gonna have to get you to put your iPad up so that I'm not looking just at your mustache, okay?
That's where most people look anyway.
I'm not gonna go there. 8.1, we have confirming the proceedings, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Greater Napanee at its special meeting held 27th of March 2020. And that bylaw number 2020-0024 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council at a special session held March 27th, 2020, read a first and second time and finally passed, and that the mayor and the clerk sign the same and affix thereto the seal of the corporation. Moved by Councillor McCormack, Councillor Norrie. Now, roll call again.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Canal, yes.
Nori, yes.
Johnson, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Isbester, yes. Carried unanimously. And the last one that I'm going to ask for is a motion for adjournment. Councillor Fennell, Deputy Kaiser. Again, recorded vote. Sorry, and this will be the end. I think I can put yeses by everybody, but I need it out loud.
McCormack, yes.
Ward 2, yes.
Canal, yes.
Nori, yes.
Johnson, yes.
Kaiser, yes.
Yes. Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Be safe, and everybody up there that's watching, the same thing. Thanks very much, folks. Have a good evening.
Thanks, John, for that shout out on the longest day of golf. I bet the virtual golf would have probably the same score.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks a lot, everyone.